Welcome back to Investing with Confidence on this fine, beautiful, beautiful day, talking about the stock market. We have a good time talking about stocks, options, futures, Forex, cryptocurrency, income strategies in the market, also wealth strategies. And that's what we're going to cover here on this segment is 401ks and IRA strategies for all market conditions, whether they're going up and going down. On the last segment, we talked about income strategies. And if you did miss tickets to that free investing class that we do locally here in Atlanta, Georgia, Bloomington, Minnesota, and Denver, Colorado. So if you're in any one of these locations, text right now, text the word invest to the number 484848. That's invest to 484848. You're going to receive 2 tickets for this investing class, but you got to attend because you have to get these free stock picks. They're awesome. Getting in these markets and seeing how supply and demand works with these stock picks and our core strategy designed to teach you to make better investing decisions. And now, in that last segment, we talked about those income strategies and using different assets like futures and Forex. Now, with markets that are turning over, we're seeing downtrends in the markets. Finally, we had an up week. We had 8 negative weeks in a row in the Dow Jones,
right,
as you mentioned in the first segment. Now the market this week finally showed some positivity, which is it going to reel a bunch of people back in the markets, and is it going to continue down? Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. But the great thing about the markets is you can anticipate a lot of the stuff, and you can protect what you have in your portfolios. Now, let's talk about portfolio protection here, especially with IRAs, 401ks. How do you help people that, let's just say someone has an IRA. Say someone listening right now has an IRA, and they're like, boy, this IRA is not looking good this year.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing all the returns that you had over the past couple of years. I believe market is down to where it was back in 2021, over a year ago now. So all those gains have been erased.
Right.
So what are some strategies if someone has an IRA and the right asset to use to protect what they have in these down markets? And we'll talk about later how to take advantage of these down markets.
Yeah, well, why it's so important to protect your assets is we're seeing that right now. In the first quarter of this year, a lot of retirement accounts just got decimated. In fact, even in the year 2020, or 2021, I'm sorry, the 57% of retirees lost 10% or more of their retirement money, even though the S&P was up 20%.
That's crazy. Can you imagine what's happening to those people right now?
Well, it's not the pain, I guess, is the word that comes to mind. But the point here is that the market can very quickly erase gains that took years to accumulate. Back in 2008, when we had the big drawdown from end of 2007 to the beginning of 2009, in 17 months, 12 years worth of returns were wiped out. So in 2020, when the pandemic hit, in 3 weeks, 34% of the market dropped down. So the market can take money away from you in a much faster fashion than you can make it. And so being protected is really important. And there are strategies, and we really stress this. The most important thing to learn is risk management, how to protect what you have. There are a number of things that you can do, just simply using stop losses. If you have a 401k, by the way, there are some of these things that we're going to talk about that you can't do, but there are other ways of protecting your assets, and we'll talk about that in these classes. But a lot of people say, well, I used stop losses for a while, and I stopped using them because I kept getting stopped out. And very simply, the reason that happened is that you did not identify the right price to pay to get into something. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you can use a stop loss more effectively.
That's why in these investing classes, you kind of talk more about where to potentially do that. And then that way you're doing it in the right spot, not just guessing.
Yeah, you can't guess. Guessing and hoping shouldn't be part of your strategy. Options can be used basically as an insurance policy on a portfolio. Options is a great asset to learn both for income while you're building your wealth and then providing income while you're still working, but then also building your wealth, protecting it once you have achieved that wealth bucket level that you want, and then also managing it so you can actually get increased returns. We talk about supply and demand, being able to identify that on a price chart. Some people might say, well, all I have to do is look at a chart. When I see that the price has gone up on something, I know that there's demand there so I can buy. Well, what's just happened? Already a good part of, maybe even all of the move has already taken place. So wouldn't it be helpful to be able to have identified that spot before the buying took place? And that's what our core strategy is designed to do. It's designed to take advantage of the way the big institutions, the big players with billions or trillions of dollars to invest, the way they have to invest to get positioned where they want to. We can take advantage of that and actually be positioned in an equity or whatever the asset is you're looking at before the institutions actually make their move.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, is protecting what you have and, getting on these opportunities when the banks and the institutions are doing them. And, we talk a lot about protecting your assets. Sounds like something else, but that's what you really need to do, is protect what you have, because if you don't, you can't grow it. And as these down markets continue, if they do, the problem is, and I think is if you haven't been trading, I guess if you started trading after 2009, you haven't experienced this.
Right.
Don't go into this down market alone. Learn how to do it. Learn how to have a core strategy, as Al is talking about, to protect what you have, but also have opportunities as it goes down. And you talk about that a lot. I mean, that's one of the key things I believe we get into in these investing classes is portfolio protection. Right. Not closing your eyes and hoping it comes back, or all that, junk that you'll hear from all these different radio programs and TV pundits and all this stuff, because they're conditioning you to keep your money in the market. Why? Because their job is to gain assets under management, and that's how they get paid. So how about learning the skills and techniques to pay yourself? That's the key, is having strategies for that. So we have investing classes to introduce you to those techniques, introduce you to those concepts. So text right now for 2 tickets for an investing class locally. And these are hands-on workshops too. They're about 2 hours. They're free here in Denver, Bloomington, Minnesota, and also Atlanta, Georgia. Text the word invest to the number 484848. You're also going to receive some free stock picks that might help you get started right away. So we talked about protecting what you have. Now, real quick here, talk about a strategy to capitalize, or have that opportunity to capitalize as markets go down, because that may be a little bit confusing for some people.
Yeah, if you have a separate investment account, you can do what we call shorting. You can short the market. There are ways of basically doing the same thing without actually doing what is technically shorting. If you have an IRA, a self-directed IRA, for example, you can use options as a way of essentially shorting the market. You can use them to make money as the market goes down, or have the opportunity to make money as the market goes down. There are assets we call inverse exchange traded funds, or inverse ETFs, that go the opposite of what they are, what their underlying is. If it happens to be the S&P 500, for example, an inverse ETF goes the opposite direction. So if the S&P is going down, which it has been until this last week, you could have had an inverse ETF that would be going up. So that's another way of participating in a down market. And we go into more detail on these in the class, but shorting, or playing that short side of the market, the down side of the market, is a game changer. And if you're not doing that, you're missing out on 1/3 of the opportunities that are out there. Actually, it's more than 1/3. The market goes up, it goes down, and it goes sideways less than up and down. But if you're missing out on both the participation in the up market and the down market, you're missing out on a huge potential for you to have an account when you retire that allows you to live the lifestyle that you want to live.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of interesting subjects there about the markets have multi-directions, because people only know that up market. Think about it as a baseball pitcher, right? You have a pitcher. If they only have a fastball, are they going to be in the major leagues? Probably not. They have a fastball. They have a curveball, maybe a slider, a knuckle curve, a changeup. It's more tools in their tool belt.
Right.
And that's the same thing with the markets. If you're in a one-directional strategy, as Al was talking about, you have one opportunity out of 3 directions, or 1 out of 3 opportunity, and that's it. How about increasing your odds, increasing your probabilities? That is the financial markets, is putting in high opportunity or probability, and high, I guess, what am I trying to even say here, Al?
high profit potential.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's what typically where you do that is at the turn in price, which is where you have that lowest risk, highest reward, highest probability entry point. Boy, that sometimes is hard to get out, but that's why we have these investing classes, not just a radio program. We have investing classes at Online Trading Academy to teach you these different techniques, teach you these different strategies and how to make smart investing decisions. So if you're in these locations, Denver, Colorado, Bloomington, Minnesota, or Atlanta, Georgia, text right now for 2 tickets for an investing class to get started in these markets confidently. Text the word invest to the number 484848 for 2 tickets. Al teaches these, I teach these as well, and these are designed to teach you to make smart investing decisions. Coming up next, Al, we have one more to go, and we've had a great time talking about the markets. Some outtakes we talk about on our YouTube show, and it's just a good time and how to help our investors make better investing decisions. Let's inspire people to get started today. This is Josh and Al, Investing with Confidence. We will be right back.